welcome into a special Halloween edition of Comic Book Women. I am Laura at Bird City Comics, joined by Jen at Comic Aficionado and Lucy at Mama Comic. We're all kind of dressed up tonight because it's Halloween, right? Anyways, in addition to our regular weekly comic and movie picks, the girls and I are really excited because we have the one, the only, Steve Niles here with us tonight.
Yay!
So, I know, we're all starstruck. Wherever you're at, get comfy and stay tuned. They're liking all the costumes. Here we are, Steve Niles, everybody. Steve, how you doing?
Yay!
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
I think we're all just like a little starstruck. We're all nervous and excited, but mostly just pumped because it's such an honor to have you here. We really appreciate you coming out and spending some time with us and just chatting comics. So, to get it kicked off for the night, we're going to start with a pretty, I don't want to say an easy question, but this is a pretty big overarching question. What got you into comic books? How did you become the Steve Niles?
Well, I've always been a comic fan ever since I was a little kid, reading comics. And actually, I was part of the Washington, D.C. music scene. And in that scene, we put on our own shows, we put out our own records. So I got the idea to put out my own comics in about 1988, 1989. And I started my own company.
What age? Like how old 20. Were you? 20 years old?
Yeah. So, but I lucked out and I wrote letters to all my favorite writers, and I wound up getting the rights to Clive Barker stories and Richard Matheson's I Am Legend, who sold me the rights for $100 because I was so young.
Wow.
And I just found myself, suddenly I was in the comic business.
That's amazing.
It just clicked. Do you remember what your first couple of books were?
Yeah, first couple books. The first one I did was called Bad Moon. And it's very, I can't even look at it now. It's just so very primitive. And then I did an anthology called Fly My Eye. And that's sort of where I learned. I was trying to be a publisher, but I really wanted to be a writer. So I wound up, after doing Fly My Eye, I teamed up with, do you guys remember Eclipse Comics?
Yeah.
Way back. I worked with Eclipse Comics, and we put out, I adapted a bunch of Clive Barker books. I put out more of the anthology, and I did an adaptation of I Am Legend.
That's cool.
Oh my gosh, girls, look at this. Look at this cover.
That is so cool. Wow.
Steve, what was this about? What's the story going on here?
It was an anthology of horror stories. So my main thing was I just wanted creators to do whatever they wanted to do. And I was trying to avoid sort of the EC model, EC comics, which I love, but, everybody, it's sort of the same thing everybody was doing for years. So I really encouraged people just to do whatever they wanted. So I think we got out 3 or 4 volumes of it.
Wow.
Do you guys nobody owns that, right? Anybody own that in our group? We have to go treasure hunting for that.
That will be amazing. We can find that. Yes. Were you able to keep any of those for yourself, Steve? Any of those books?
Sorry?
Were you able to keep any of those books for yourself? Do you have those?
Yeah, some of them. I don't have as much of the older stuff as I used to. But that was just a really fun time, I was very, very young and very into comics, and because of Eclipse, I got to go to San Diego when I was still like 21, 22. and meet a bunch of my heroes and stuff. So it was a really great time.
That's incredible at such a young age too. So we have a question from the audience here. What was it like working with Rob Zombie on the Bigfoot miniseries?
Oh, it was so much fun. When I met Rob, I didn't know what to expect because he's a big rock star. We wrote tag team. I would write a page or two and send it off to him, and he would send it back, and it would be 5 pages long. And we would keep shooting it back and forth to each other until we had a complete script.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like pen pals.
Like pen pals.
I wouldn't really know what he was going to come back with. Yeah, I would react to what he wrote and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun.
That is so cool.
Plus, we got to work
with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Legendary artist Richard Corbin.
That is so cool. Wow.
This is before you could just text each other and email. You were like writing letters and stuff. That's awesome. It's a comic book pen pal. It's the best way to describe it. So we're going to talk a little bit here for people that are just hopping in. Any of the books that from the past that just have kind of stuck with you, I would say like your top 1 or 2 comics that you've already established and you just want to bring back.
Probably one of my favorites is one called Freaks of the Heartland, which I did for Dark Horse with Greg.
I read about this today. Yeah,
it was a 6-issue series. Yeah, that one has always stuck with me, and I mean, because Greg just did a beautiful job, and it's an odd little story. So that's one of my favorites. And I have to always give credit to 30 Days a Night.
Oh, well, of course. Yeah. But Steve, doesn't this cover remind you of that painting where the girl's kind of laying in the cornfield looking at the house? Exactly. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember the artist or the title.
I know, Christina, but it's like super famous.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I seen this, and that's one that I would like to read. That's the one I don't have. There's a couple of books that you wrote and that I need to pick up. And this one, it's on my list.
Okay, hold on.
Dark Horse is re-releasing it as a paperback.
Oh, really?
That's it. Christina's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're going to re-release it as a nice portable paperback, because so far it's only been released as like big hardcovers and stuff like that. So they're re-releasing that and Breath of Bones.
What was it about that one that makes you just, was it the story or the art or what was it?
Really, the art sold it for me. Greg is such an amazing artist, and he really, he could do things with facial expressions. And the thing when I do my comics, I don't know if you noticed, but I don't do a lot of captions, or I really like to let the art tell the story as much as possible. And with Freaks, Greg did just a beautiful job.
There's 2 captions on this whole page here.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Exactly. and it's all sound effect.
What does it say? Oh, pow, pow, pow. So what's the premise of this story? Just like a really brief synopsis on what this is about, because I'm actually going to get this one in my collection.
Yeah.
Really brief. It's about a small town that all of the women spontaneously give birth to monsters. And only a few survive. Most of them are killed right away. But only a few survive, and this one focuses on the one that has a brother who actually takes in his monster's brother, and they have their own relationship. So it's one of those stories where it's about who are really the monsters.
Yeah. Wow, this is freaking amazing. Yeah, I need this book.
Oh, we're getting so many comments here about the artwork. Everybody's just loving the cover. This is definitely one that I would like to see just get back into the regular mix here. That's amazing. What was the other one you said you wanted to bring up? 30 Days of Night?
Well, because 30 Days of Night was, I was just freelancing in comics. I was still having to, work other jobs and all that. But when I did 30 Days of Night, that's when I finally, I had a writing career, and I was 30 by then. So, I had already been doing comics for a long time, but I was never really able to, pay the rent with it. And then 30 Days a Night just
from it became an official career then at this point.
Yeah. I've been working full-time writer ever since.
So this was your breakthrough, and well earned. This is an incredible story. In my opinion, one of the most. Lucy, how would you describe this?
30 Days of Night. Oh my goodness, that one. I just love it. Like everything, the way the vampires, everything. It's just. I guess I'm not that good. I guess at describing it.
Well, it has that chilling effect where you're just sitting there on the edge, like just waiting to see what happens next. Steve, can you talk a little bit about this particular release and how it came about?
Actually, at the time, Ben Templesmith and I, the artist, were working for Todd McFarlane, and we were doing a book called Hellspawn at the time, and there used to be these big lags between issues because we'd have to wait for Todd to approve our scripts. So IDW was just starting out, and they said, we can't pay you, but is there any comic you want to do, any story? So I pitched them 30 Days a Night. So Ben and I actually did the first issue for free. We didn't get paid. And then it exploded. So we didn't.
Wow,
we had no
so
clue.
Cool.
Yeah,
no
and it turned out to be the one that, like,
that's incredible.
It blew up.
Well, somebody here said Niles made vampires cool again. I could not agree more. This is cult culture type stuff. I mean, if you want a vampire movie that's going to keep you we were talking before the show and I was telling Steve, I'm like, this is not your sparkling Robert Pattinson type vampires. These things are emotionless and just so freaking scary. I
know. I watched it again today, and it's just like like the way they looked on the book. It's like the way they look on the movie, and there are freaky. I remember watching it when I went to the theater to watch it. I was really scared. I was like this watching the whole time, and when they come out, and like at the end I cried. But I don't know why. It's like from being scared, I cried. Yeah, I don't know.
You were mentally spent.
It was like it was such a beautiful story, like I loved it. And I feel like that's how vampires should look like, the teeth like that. Yeah. Like that's the way they should look, and vampires don't spark. Yeah, it's supposed to be scary. And I watched the movie today again, and I just I needed to watch it again. And because I wasn't able to get the books, the first books you came out with for 30 Days of Night, but I was able to pick up the other ones. And they are that, it's awesome that you kind of kept going with, with the story, I guess, it's just.
I think Lucy's in love, Steve. We're just in love with your work.
I'm sorry. I am.
Really nice. It's so funny.
Jen, what do you think?
30 Days Night.
Did you see that one, Jen? Have you watched it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Steve's. A lot of us in the comic community, and even like who aren't in the community, basically, Steve, we think that like you're the one that kind of like brought horror books back, right?
Yep.
Because everyone likes the EC stuff, but then like there's kind of like a little bit of a lull. There's some stuff that came out, right? But like you really like all your stuff that came through, and then people who saw the movie, who didn't know there's a comic, found out there's a comic, then got pulled into comics, and then they read more of your stuff. And like even Lucy, like I love your story of how you said you're working in the comic book shop, right? And how you discovered his stuff.
Yeah. Well, see, like I was in year working in the comic book store, and it was around. I think it was around Halloween when I saw that this book, October Faction, that it came out, and I picked it up. And just because of the cover, like the way it looked, I was like, "Oh, I love reading scary stories and anything horror stuff." So I just saw it, and I was like, "Oh, what is this? It looks good." And I picked it up, and I read it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is awesome! I need to read more about this." And I realized that it was not the volume 1 issue, the beginning, and I had to look for the other ones, and that's when I was like, okay, I like this artist, I like Steve. And then Winnebago Graveyard came out, and I saw your name on it, and I was like, I have to get it. And this one, I love this one so much because I live in a kind of small town, Palm Springs, and the desert. I mean, you drive 10 minutes and you're like in the desert, completely different from the city. And it's like, this could happen. This could happen, It's just, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I live in the desert too. And that's what I based it all on when I was working with Allison. She actually, because she lives in London, she came over for a visit, and we just drove all around this area, and she took pictures of, we even had a place that looked like a Winnebago graveyard that I took her to.
Oh.
There's just a field, just 100 Winnebagos, stuck in it. So, it was based on, living in the desert in California.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you know what? I know, now 30 Days of Night, and then October Faction being a show. Do you think, because this one I would love to see Winnebago Graveyard into a movie or a show. That will be
Amen,
amazing.
sister. Yes.
It will be awesome to see it bring it to the big TV. How did you get your?
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Cool.
Oh, we both crossed our fingers at the same time. We're like, yeah, come on, Steve, let's make this happen.
So when your books say like 30 Days of Night, how it got to be a movie, do you pitch those, or people come to you guys for to make your books into a movie or a TV show?
It's it's different every time. With 30 Days a Night, we went out and pitched it, and went to I'd say we went to about 10 different places, and then the last meeting was with Sam Raimi. And I remember just as soon as he said he liked it, I was like, "That's it, we're done. No more pitching." And so that one that was very different. It's never happened like that ever since. It turned into a bidding war between 3 studios. And like I said, I went with Sam Raimi because I wanted somebody who knew horror.
Yeah.
But it hasn't happened like that since. So most of the time I go out and pitch. With October Faction, actually, IDW has their own entertainment division. So they developed it and got it set up at Netflix.
Okay. And how did you feel about that one being turned into a show?
Oh, I was thrilled. I was really happy. I knew they made a lot of changes and stuff, but they kept the core idea, which is about family. And I think the thing that bums me out the most about it not getting to a second season was the first season was all set up. It was setting up. Yeah. It ended on where the comic starts.
Yeah.
So that was very frustrating. But that's that's just
yeah, you know what? I seen on their Instagram page. I see on their Instagram page people keep saying like, bring it back, bring back for a second season. And especially me, that I watched it and I was telling people, because on the comic book community, I guess we tend to compare the comic to the show or to the movie. and this was like a prequel. You know, it sucks and it's sad, and I really hope Netflix brings it back or somebody else so they can show what you wrote, what it's just an amazing story. I loved it. That's also one of my favorite comic books, October Faction, and I really hope they bring it back or pitch it to somebody else to make a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the fans are there.
There's always a chance. Yeah. There's so many options now of places you can take things. All the streaming services and everything. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
I think it just takes the fans. It takes the fans.
Stop casting 25-year-old kids as high schoolers, though. I was watching. I'm like, these kids are like 30 years old and they're playing high schoolers. Steve, did you have any like direct input when they were developing that? Did you get to go to the set or anything?
Not really.
Oh.
Well, I did. I went to the writer's room but they already had everything set. So basically, they pitched me their ideas, and then I spent 3 days on the set up in Toronto in like sub-zero weather. I have never been so cold in my life, and it was really amazing watching the actors because it was supposed to be summer. And they would be like wearing parkas and freezing and then they'd have to like put on their t-shirts, take off their parkas and just do the scene. And it was so amazing to watch, because I was shivering. I was like in a tent with a heater. So I did get to go to the set and I met the cast. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And they were really wonderful. I really, that's the thing. I really wound up liking everybody on the show.
Yeah, I really like whoever they picked the actors for the show. I really like them. The mom and dad, all of them. I think they were perfect for the show. And like I said, we're gonna start a petition to bring it back.
Good.
It could happen. We could do it.
Like a catchy hashtag, right? Grassroots it, kind of like how they brought back other TV shows and movies. People, so. Let's rally,
Heck yeah. I'm going to go listen outside Netflix. Bring it back.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, before we let you go, there's a couple more things. Do you have anything coming up that you want to mention so that people can start keeping an eye out for some new stuff? Do we have any new Niles coming up?
Well, I have a bunch of stuff that just came out. I have a book, two books from Clover Press. One's called The Possessed, which is a sort of a World War II horror story about there's a demon called the Dybbuk, and I based it on that legend. And then I had another book. The second one just came out called The Grieveling, which is about a young girl who's killed in a graveyard, and all the spirits bring her back. So it's sort of like it's a vengeance story with a superhero and some horror. So, so those two just came out. And then I've been doing a lot of work with John and Sandy Carpenter's company, and just had a book come out called Graveyard Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then
I try to get those two. I try to get those two, Possessed and Graveling, and they were sold out at the comic book store.
Oh,
so there are
good news, bad news.
And then Possessed on eBay, they're selling for just issue one. It's like $35.
What?
Wow!
So they're
wow.
Mm-hmm. Both of them. Yes, there are like. I know it.
Steve, you're kind of a big deal. You're a big deal.
Yeah, I couldn't get on any of them.
Yeah. Well, the trade will be coming out soon, hopefully. So hopefully that'll be a little easier to get.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I know they were. I even asked other friends that they live in another state if they have any at their store, if they can grab me. They're like, they couldn't. They one of them he was able to give issue 1 and 2, but he said that they were sold out too. So I'm gonna see if probably the tray. I will wait for the tray, or maybe
so
just get them on.
incredible.
Yeah,
That's
How do
very
you
neat.
feel
Yeah,
that
I'd love to
you're selling for that much?
What's that?
How do you feel that your books they sell for that much?
Well, in this case, it's a little bit of a bummer because they just came out. So
I wanna read it,
I
damn
still
it.
want people. I want people to buy it. $30. That's kind of an investment. So
That's your, like,
well,
second
hopefully the
print,
trade.
second print. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
True, yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I got to talk to the publishers. I had no
Yeah,
idea.
thank
Thank you for.
yeah, and or I don't know, maybe you know what? I didn't think about maybe reaching out to the publisher to see if I can buy them from there. I didn't think about that. I just thought about that. Maybe
Yeah.
if they able to if we're able to buy from them.
Yeah.
That's an option. Hey, Steve, really quickly, you were talking about The Possessed, and you said it was based on a legend.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What's it called?
Sorry.
The Possessed book. You said it was based on a legend. What legend is it? That you had a character in there.
The
That
Die Book.
Book. Daibu.
There it
Okay.
is. You got it. The book box.
Went right over my
And
head.
it's a
What is that?
demon that can be released from the box, and it's a demon in a box that can actually possess you, or that's my interpretation. So and I work with kind of a twist on that, and it's a World War II story. So
There it is.
oh, look at that!
Wow.
Look at that. There it is.
Yes, it's a box. That's amazing. A box that can hold a demon.
That's creepy
Oh
as
my
hell.
goodness. I want to read it even more.
I know.
I want to read it more.
Well, there's always truth to legends, right? In one way or another. Legends always are rooted in some sort of story. But
Mm-hmm.
Jen, Lucy, do you guys have anything to add?
I mean, I just came across something about Black Mask Studios and how you helped kind of create that for creators.
Yeah, I was involved at the very beginning. Mostly though, Matt really took, he really deserves all the credit. I was just sort of a cheerleader, and helped out where I could when they first started out, but I'm not that involved with them anymore.
Okay, that's still pretty cool that you helped cheerlead that into what it is now.
Yeah, and other than those two books,
because it goes back to.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think we're getting a little bit of a lag.
I was just going to say I enjoyed Black Mass because it had a very a punk rock sensibility, and that's what I came out of. I played in a punk band for 10 years, so it was really fun to sort of bring that sensibility back.
What was the name of the band?
Gray Matter. We were on Discord Records.
I'm gonna find this. This is happening.
But we were like when we put out our first album, I was 7.
Wow.
Oh, you can find it.
So
It's
cool.
it's still available.
That is so
there you
cool.
go.
Uh-oh.
There you are. Look at you. That's awesome.
A very multifaceted man, right? Look at this.
Yep.
He's like, oh, I do this. Do you paint? What else do you do?
I know.
No, that's about it. Music.
That is awesome. That is so cool. So now, other than
we still get together and play everyone.
That's cool.
So other than Possess and the Graveling, do you have anything else
Sorry,
that's
go
gonna
ahead.
come out?
I have a book from TKO coming out. That's sort of a werewolf detective story. We're just starting to announce that. But you know what? During this whole COVID thing, while we've been in lockdown, I've been developing new comics. So I've been working with Simon Kudaskri. I've never said his name out loud. But we're working on a new series called A Town Called Terror that we're going to set up soon. So it's a lot of development going on right now.
That's very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I need to, so I can get those right on my pool before they sell out.
Very good. So perfect. So what's the best way to kind of track you so that we can keep an eye out for all of your stuff that's coming up? Are you on Instagram? What's a good way for everybody that's watching to keep on top of all the Steve Niles news?
Instagram. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I post pretty much the same thing on all of them. But I'm always promoting if there's new books. I'm always promoting them. And
cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm always sharing his stuff, whatever. I'm always like, when you post something of your art, I'm always like reposting it on my stories. A total fangirl.
We're all fangirls. But all right, well, Steve, we're going to let you go. We know that you have a lot going on tonight. But once again, on behalf of all three of us, thank you so much for coming out. Absolute privilege to have you on the show. And we look forward to reading your past work and your upcoming stuff.
All right. Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Steve. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. Girls, what do you think?
I wish I would have asked him if, like, because he's into music, if he, as he writes, what does he listen to? And then maybe as his stuff is being written, as his stuff is being read, what he has envisioned the readers listening to, like could you do a soundtrack in the back, right? And then listen to, and then read his stuff.
That would be amazing.
Damn it, we should have kept him on for another hour. I didn't want to keep him on too long because he's so busy and he has so much coming on. So for anybody that's just hopping in, we just finished up an interview with the one and only Steve Niles, phenomenal horror writer.
You guys, can you guys tell I was so nervous? And
I was nervous. I'm like, why do I have to meet you while I'm dressed up as a Wookiee? Like, why couldn't I be like cute Laura, Why did it be Wookiee Laura? So we're going to keep moving with the show, though. We're going to do our regular stuff. We're going to do our weekly comic picks next, followed up by our weekly movie and TV picks. And then we'll end with our Thor book club review. So, all right, to kick us off. Oh, I guess I'm going Thor first. Have you guys read this before I say anything?
No.
I've seen it.
That's another one that when it came out, it freaking sold out and I was not able to get it.
Oh, Anthony's like, Laura, this is my number one in a Mylar bag. Do not bend it. Do not smudge it. So I go to open the book. He's all, did you just rip the tape? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I have to get the book out of the bag, but he's so protective of this book because he loves this series. So what this is about, you have a high school teacher and he's just going about his mundane life, trying to figure out what he's going to do next. He lives with his Nana, who's just the best. She's a really cool character. She's very sarcastic. And as the pages go by, before you know it, this mysterious woman appears and basically tells him he's in danger. Okay? She's like, Darren, you got to come with me. I got to get you someplace safe. And he's like, okay, crazy old lady, let's get you back to the home. So he starts, trying to get her back. And then they're just bombarded by, I have only read the first book, so this is speculation, but I think they're basically like the equivalent of demons. It's kind of like, it looks like it's setting up to be a light versus dark type story. Think Star Wars, girls. Same idea. It kind of fits. Oh, wait, hold on.
Where's the lightsaber, Jen? Yes. There you go.
So you have the character that is able to produce this light, and he's fighting against the darkness. And it's a good one. I can see why this sold so quickly. The artwork is fantastic. So if you haven't already, find it.
I might try to see if I can find it. My pick, guys. My pick.
I
Oh
can't
my
beat
gosh.
this. I
In
can't beat this.
honor of Steve Niles. I love this book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend this book. It's about, well, the family, you know, they are, let's see, kind of like they're detectives for monsters.
But they're
And
disguised as like real estate agents, right?
yes,
Right? The
yeah.
parents?
Yeah. And like, you know, like Steve was saying, like they changed the show in the comic. So this is their after. If you watch the show, they're in high school. This is after high school. They're already done with all that, and the kids become part of the family business kind of thing. So it's werewolves. There's werewolves, demons, anything. They are able to solve your problem, kind of thing. So I really
Why do
recommend.
you think that they changed the Netflix adaptation from this? Because we were talking to Steve about this. Why would they
Yeah.
have shifted that?
I think it's for people to understand and get to know the family first, you know, so they can kind of have, I mean, that's what I think, you know, to, so they can, uh, I guess, fall in love with the characters first
Yeah.
before they go to the whole another, you know, season. So I think it's just they felt that they were going to get that second season for sure.
Right,
So,
but then it just seems like it almost backfired because they're trying to give the audience time to build relationship with the characters, but we have
yeah.
such short attention spans nowadays. People probably got bored or stalled and moved on to the next one before they
You know
even gave it
what?
a real chance.
I think it was that a month before this came out, Lock and Key came out. I mean, yeah, this one was a month before Lock and Key. So they were promoting so much Lock and Key that from Joe Hill that they didn't promote this one as much because I was seeing on all over Instagram Lock and Key. I was not seeing that much of October Faction till like I think the week that it came out. Their Instagram, they don't even have that many followers if you compare to Lock and Key. So I think they focused so much on the other one that they didn't give this one that the promotion.
Fighting chance.
Yeah. So which I mean they're both really great shows, you know. I really like both books. I love also Joe Hill. But I just wish they would have give that promotion that if they would have pushed this so much a lot more, it would have done a lot better.
But
Well,
that's where
Joe
you can
Hill
like
is great.
but
Oh,
that's
go ahead,
actually that's where you can create like a hashtag like I know it's kind of long, but bring back October faction, and then just try to like because I think people who read the book are still waiting to see what they read, right? And then people who maybe weren't into comics that don't know, but like I think again, if you grassroots this thing, if they could bring back Family Guy, they can bring back this for a second season.
I agree.
Yeah. Or maybe somebody else, Hulu or Amazon can pick it up. Since Amazon is doing, you know, their own shows
That's true.
based on comics. Why not do this one? Buy this one off of Netflix if they don't care, you know?
You got to give Netflix props though for just going, balls deep into these indie books. Like they actually they stick pretty well, I think, to. Sorry, I said balls deep. Damn it, knees deep. Duh, that's worse. You go into these comic books, and at least they're still promoting them, and at least they're still getting into the indie game because it's like you were saying, Lucy. Lock and Key was right before this. Then you have the October Faction. So I do appreciate that Netflix at least is giving them some recognition. But I agree with Jen. Let's do it. Let's start a movement.
There you go. They brought Animaniacs back too. So after how many years?
It's true. All right, Jen, you're up.
Okay, so it's funny because it's also Steve Niles. It's his Star Wars horror special that came out in 2009. I've been looking for this book for 2 years, and I've never come across it in the back issue bins because I'm a frugal $1, $2 bin kind of gal. So
nothing wrong with that.
I just could never find it. And then I found out through doing research with us on Steve Niles, this is actually a reprint of a Star Wars Tales 17 from 2003. So I'm like, I finally just paid the eBay $5 for it, and I'm looking forward to reading it because I all I know is that it's Han and Chewie on a planet, and there's like the dead. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Like I'm just super excited.
Damn hard to find is what Solo Wookiee said.
And then this cover, I'm like, at first I was like, oh, it looks kind of like Alex Ross, but it's Igor Corday. And then I started looking into his stuff, and he's a really great artist. I was like, that's awesome. Like,
it does have an Alex Ross feel to it, though. You're right. It has that oil painting type look. It's very cool. I think I got this Chewbacca beat, though, right?
Thank you. So he said to remember to like and subscribe, guys.
Yes, definitely like and subscribe if you have not already. And for somebody earlier in the chat who asked if I was a beaver, no, I'm clearly a Wookiee. Jen, do I look like a beaver?
I mean, we thought that maybe you were an Ewok, but
that still works. I'm cool with Ewok, but I'm not a beaver, you guys.
But once you stand up and you see the stash, when you
have the little
stash, right? Then you're like, oh, it's Chewbacca.
Yeah. So I don't want to stand all the way up because for some reason there's Tool. Like, why would Chewbacca have Tool attached to him? Anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. So if you can,
those like the girly.
Huh?
Okay. They make like those for girls, you know, to look all sexy.
Like a cute Chewbacca. Yeah, it's just itchy more than anything. All right, so we are going to move on really quickly here to our, I don't know, multi-medium pick, right? This is, I started with a movie. I was going to do a movie, but then I was laying on the couch and I saw The Haunting of Bly Manor on there. And I'm like, I'm going to give this a go. And I started the first episode. Holy hell. Did you guys watch this? Lucy, yeah? Jen?
Yeah.
No, it's on my to watch list, but I've heard, isn't it like it's tied to what's the Haunting from before? There's another.
Hill House.
Yes.
The Hill House.
Yeah,
No,
so the two stories, they're kind of more like parallel than tied together. There are parallels between the two stories. I haven't watched that one. This is the one I started with, but I am just chicken shit by nature. I just am. Like, I get scared so easily. Ernest Does Halloween scared the shit out of me. Remember when they take him into making those gooey little dolls that you stick in the tree? I'm just talking. You guys have no idea what I'm talking about? Ernest Does Halloween.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
God.
been a long time. I
was about to walk off camera. Anyways, so The Haunting of Bly Manor. Ernest, you guys, Ernest. You start the first episode is told like a story. So you're at a wedding. I'll just put it in a quick little setting here. You're at a wedding and everybody's about to call it for the night. And the bride and the groom are in the other room by the fire with a couple other guests. And this woman sits down and says, I have a story. And I love it when horror and any type of story really is told from that third perspective, that third person perspective. So she starts telling the story and there's a series of flashbacks. But holy hell, this is one of those episodes where you watch it till the end and you're like, okay, I'm going to watch the next one. And it's like, and I'm sitting there with Anthony and he's jumping. Don't tell him I told you that. He jumped like 4 different times. And I'm like,
scary guy.
Oh, so
I watched it by myself.
Did you really? Lucy, I made him walk me to the bathroom. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. He's like, okay, go. And I'm like, like, you're gonna go with me. There might be somebody. So he walked with me, turning on all the lights as we're going down the hallway because I was scared to death. So if you're looking for a show that's one of those ones that keep you up at night, there you go.
Yeah, that's. Oh,
you're up, Lucy. What do you got?
Well, we just talked about this one. I just watched it again today. And this one, like I was telling you guys earlier, I love this movie. It's the first time I watched it. It was I was really scared. I was scared, but it was like 13 years ago. I was 20 years old, and I was really scared. And I was covering I was covering my eyes, and I was just like, yeah. But it's obviously like in a small town in. Where is it? Alaska? Alaska, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
where Santa Claus is at. Just kidding.
You covered your eyes during this? I plug my ears when I'm really scared. It's like,
Oh my God, you're like my son. He does that. I'm like, let me cover it. I don't know.
You're
But
too-
yeah, and okay, sorry. um, but yeah, no, it was really. It's a small town, and then the vampires attack the town, and I guess it's just trying to survive. And then, I mean, it's in Alaska or North Pole or wherever
It's really cool.
it's like, what was that?
The fact that they actually base it, because like if you go to Alaska, there is like no light. And so that is like the perfect premise of a horror story. So I thought that was awesome. But then I was like, wait a minute, that is kind of scary because it is dark the whole entire time.
Yeah, that's why I think I got scared the most, because like I love scary stuff, and something that I guess it could happen in a small town like that, I mean, it's what it scares me the most. I know that it could happen. Like I mean, Laura, you say you such a scary cat. I am too. I but I feel like I can watch all that stuff during the day, but then at night when I'm ready to go to bed, like I'm in it already, because I'm the last one to fall asleep, and then I start thinking about stuff like that, and I'm like, I have my show, Tales by Lucy, and I have people talking about ghost stories and stuff like that, and then
real ghost stories too, right? Everything's true.
personal.
So
Yeah. And and then at the end, like of the night, I'm like thinking about their ghost stories, and I'm all scared.
So, Lucy, quick question. Do you think that this film adaptation or screen adaptation was truer to Steve Niles' original graphic novel, or do you think October Faction played truer to the original? I'm assuming you're going to say this one, right?
Yeah, I think this one was a little bad. Yeah, because the show, they didn't get to that part. So I would say, yeah, the 30 Days of Night.
Let's be honest, though. We all watched this for Josh Hartnett, right?
Oh my God, he's such a hottie. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, I was in there.
He's such a hottie. There's my show, guys, right there. I have 5 episodes, 4 episodes, 5 episodes. I don't even know. 5 episodes in.
And it's on YouTube.
Yes. You guys, I mean, I love everybody who has been on my show, but honestly, my sister-in-law Erica and Phil, they have really goes. I mean, Erica has some crazy stories, personal stories, and she's not even done. I need to have her back because she has more to tell. I mean,
there's more.
Oh yes.
Ooh, I cannot wait. It's so fun to watch. All right, Jen, we kind of knew this was going to be your pick. If you guys didn't see her already this week, go ahead, Jen. Go ahead.
So Mandalorian is coming out in 2 days, 8 hours, and 11 minutes. And it's on Tales of Dark Side on the Flip Side channel. They also have like a holocron show, and we try to do a 30-minute trailer review, and it went a little longer. So if you want to find out some more stuff,
little longer? Weren't you on for like hours talking about this?
Hours? I mean, like 3.
Oh,
you know.
So what was the main point here? What were you guys talking about?
That was the second trailer for The Mandalorian that came out on Monday. Or last Monday. Wait. Yeah, last Monday.
And what did it tell us? What sneak peeks did we get to see?
I mean, honestly, we just kind of got some more filled out scenes, but nothing like brand new where we were like, oh my God. Like, because everyone was waiting for that, like, like the end credit scene where everyone's like, oh my God, the next movie or the next TV series or the next episode. And like, that didn't happen, but it's like, it's a trailer. It's not supposed to really do that. Like, but I'm really, really, really excited. So yeah, it's Friday. And then we're all dressed as Star Wars characters. And it's also our Halloween episode. So it's like, that's awesome. But yeah, that's the Tales from the Dark Side. They're awesome. All the guys on there are like Solo Wookiee and Marco and Leaky Trooper, who has his own show for Low Brick on one word. where he puts together like logo sets. Like they're all super nice guys who are super like into Star Wars and like know the lore. Like Marco, his knowledge is on a whole nother level. But yeah, the Mandalorian, man, because there's so much speculation about this about this season and what we're gonna see. But at the end of the day, like we really don't know. None of us work for Lucas, right? Or for Disney.
That we know of.
Yeah, but just waiting for this episode, like I'm super excited.
Yeah, I was watching, and I'm not like I mean, I've seen some of the movies and stuff like that, but I'm horrible with names. And you guys like talking about people, and I was just kind of like trying to learn everything. But it was a really cool show.
You make us like a diagram, a little diagram of who's who and whose son's who and blah blah blah, and send that out so that we can kind of keep track. It's definitely it's a lot. Really quickly, guys, before we move on, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the page, like the page, and make a comment. Your feedback means so much to us. It lets us know what we should add in on the next shows, and we are listening and we are responding. So please do us a favor and do that. We go live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you haven't already seen this, Bird City Comics, we just released Batman Catwoman #1 yesterday. This went on sale at 9 o'clock last night, and it's selling like crazy girls. We have Scott Williams sketch, Jim Lee inks, which that doesn't happen very often. And then, of course, the AC covers are Alex Sinclair colors.
Well, so the Scott Williams interview was awesome.
Wasn't that crazy? Like, he's such a nice guy. And we were very, very fortunate to have this team. It just happened. And it's been crazy. The amount of, the response has been incredible and well earned because you put those three together. And like I said, it's one of those things where it just works. What do you guys think?
Those covers are beautiful. I love Batman legs. Look at those muscles.
He does his squats.
Look at that.
So make sure you check out birdcitycomics.com. You can order it there, or you can go directly to our Facebook page and message us there. So either way.
So you guys have amazing colors.
You guys know who I am?
Carlo Ren.
Who?
Aren't you wearing the? No, wait.
No. You look.
I mean, I'm not really like. But it's the jacket and the thing and the thing from Rogue One.
What is it called? That girl that the girl that fixes stuff. I'm telling you, bad with names.
Wait, does anyone in the chat know who I am?
The girl that fixes stuff.
Oh, classic Leia.
No, she's probably
Dr. Afro.
Yes, Erin.
Yes,
that girl. Wasn't that girl who fixed stuff?
Jyn Erso is from Rogue One. Does she fix things?
Sure.
I think I might be confusing her. I don't know.
I mean, you might.
I need to learn more Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Jyn Erso is I mean, Leia and Chewie are much more recognizable characters, but
no, Leia and Beaver.
No, you're not Beaver.
Leia and the Beaver.
And look, guys, like what my shirt says is this princess saves herself.
Nice.
Girl power. How fitting for this show. All right,
I got
moving
no
on.
muscles. I'm like showing my muscles.
So the three of us decided to kind of form a book club and to have one story arc that we were all going to read together. We chose Thor, God of Thunder. However, it's kind of a long storyline. So Jen had the brilliant idea, instead of doing one review every show, to kind of put it in chunks. So tonight we are going to do a quick review of 1 through 4.
Well, so that's one thing because we're it's at 54-minute mark, right? If we do 1 through 4, it might go a little bit longer because 1 through 5 is like technically one arc. So I was like, oh man.
Do you want to do 1 and 2? We can do 1 and 2.
But or you guys want to wait to do 1 and 5? So the first arc next episode.
No, we can. I mean, because I have questions, I'm gonna forget.
Okay, so do you want to do 1 and 2? Because you guys, wait, what are the questions you have?
I read 1 through 4. I have questions.
Okay.
let's do a very brief overview, and we can kind of tap back next Tuesday. But essentially, you have Thor, okay? Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
You have Thor, and he goes and visits this planet where the little girl's praying to him and for help, and he comes and he helps, and he's like, why aren't you praying to your own gods? And she's like, we don't have any gods. But there was a myth. There was this idea that maybe there were, what do you call it? Gods living in the sky. So Thor goes and investigates, and long story short, he discovers that the gods are being butchered. Do I got that right, Jen?
Yeah, the really weird thing about this series is that, and I kind of liked it, it's different, is that it's really telling a story from 3 points of view, 3 points in time, right?
Okay, I did not know that while I was reading it, and I was getting so fucking lost. I'm like, wait, what is happening? So can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, wait, hold on before you go. That's what I was confused, because like, I'm like, what the hell? You know, even though to 4, I kind of obviously got it. Like, okay, he is like the past, future, and present, right?
Yeah.
I got that. But number 4, okay, I'm like jumping the gun here. But number 4, that God killer, he's able to time travel, or what the hell?
So we don't want to give. This is the hard part for me too, is that like I want to talk about this, but I want to talk about it from like 1 through 25, and my memory of it is like one chunk. So I'm trying to like, it's hard for me to break it down to like the issues. But so when you're reading it, I remember when I first read it, I was super confused. I was like, what the heck is going on? But then I started like looking at the differences. So like there's young Thor, who he has the axe, right? So, and that's like, they say like 893 AD. Right, he's like
drinking all the beer and having all the sex.
Yeah, he's a younger Thor. He's not worthy of Mjolnir. Like he tries to pick it up a couple times, and he's like, he gets frustrated because he's not worthy yet. And that's where he first 893 AD. Right, that's a long time ago that he comes across a god that's been butchered with his head cut off, and like the fear and like pain in the guy's eyes like almost chills him. He's like, whoa, he's a god. What can do this to a god, right?
Right, because he acknowledges he'd seen gods bleed, he had seen gods die, but he had never seen the terror in this initial guy's eyes. This god was like, I have no freaking clue what could have done this.
What is this? And he tells very like young Thor, like, oh, I'll take care of it. But like internally he's like, the heck is this? And then when you see like present day, it's still him kind of like, he often in present day will think back to that past, go, oh man, I've seen this before. That look before, I've seen it before, right? And then in like the future, where it's like King God Thor with the one patch, and he's like old, and it's him like he's gonna be killed. Like he's like the last god alive. So it's really cool because I thought that's a premise that has never really been done in comics before, where we see character young, present, and old. And so you're kind of already kind of seeing where the story's going to go, right? Like you see him at the end of the day, waiting for that horde to come. You're like, wait a minute, does this mean that he's not going to win? Like, and then having to find out about Gore, and then like, it's kind of hard to follow. But eventually, when you just look at the Thors and how they look, you're like, okay, this is past. Okay, this is present, and then this is like future.
Yeah. You know, I really like so far, even though it's like 1 to 4, I liked it, and it's like dark. It's it's not, you know, like your regular, I guess, comic. And especially for me that I don't read that much Marvel. I was like, oh, holy moly, it's a dark book, you know. I want to say real quick. Sorry, I was reading the comments. Joshua, book club are not only for girls. I seen on YouTube there's a book club for men. They're all men. So calm down.
Wait, I can't see the comments.
Sit down and eat your Cheetos.
I know, I'm not on them either. Hold on.
How do you see the comments? How do you do it?
But hold on real quick, guys, just to get us back over to what we were talking about here. Jen, I had a question. So, you know, I think it's issue 2. I said episode. So you have Thor. And for those of you who haven't read this yet, we highly recommend it because we think that this storyline is going to be important for the future movies. And honestly, because it's a really good story arc, it really shows Thor as a god. So you have Thor going up and he's fighting Gore, okay? that black sword that Gore is using.
The necro
Is
sword?
that what you use to make symbiotes?
So that's the tie-in with Venom later that the necro sword has to kind of do with Null, and we're not there yet fully with the whole Null storyline, but like you definitely know, like Donny Cates really likes Jason Aaron, right? So he talks about his God of Thunder line and his old Thor line, and like that's like where it gets exciting. It's like, oh man, is he gonna really tie this all together? Because that would be freaking amazing. But like, yeah, like, and then real quick, so it's not really we're still trying to figure out a name for this. But there's guys who get together and talk about storylines all the time, and this is just us talking about a cool storyline that eventually will tie into present day stuff, which might tie into MCU stuff later. It's just like this is a good basis for any new reader to just have in their wheelhouse. So when other things happen in Thor, you're like, oh, this ties into that. Like instead of just being like, what's this necro sword? Huh?
Right.
Like,
There's so much in this book, and this is such a good arc. And I don't think that, I mean, like JJ is saying, it is a little bit of a struggle because you have the time frames. But once you get kind of past that, it gives you a very interesting insight, not only into Thor himself, but also into Gore.
Yeah.
I mean, Gore's perspective made sense to me, but I don't want to say too much. But
yeah, or like somebody said, it's kind of like the Christmas, Thor of Christmas past, Thor of Christmas present, Thor of Christmas future.
I like that comment.
That's a cool one.
Who said that?
That's a good way of doing it. So, okay, how did this chunk end, Jen?
Well, we're not done yet. So issue 5 would be the end of this.
We have one more issue.
So we'll do that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And you know, for issue 1, when they read issue 1, I was just kind of like, what? Obviously what's happening after I passed like second issue, then on third issue, I was like I'm getting more into it. I'm like, okay, I kind of like little by little, it's the story, I guess it's kind of coming.
Lucy, you're an independent reader predominantly. You like indie books, but then so when I feel like for people out there that are watching, again, when you start doing these Marvel books, it can be a little intimidating because there's so, like what Jen was just saying, there's so many crossovers between these stories, and it's like if you go into it thinking you need to know everything, you're going to quit. Go into it and focus on one book at a time, and join a comic book club so that you can discuss it with each other, and that way it makes sense to you.
I mean, this is a graphic novel, reads better. Like when I did that again, I was like, oh man, like it's because you get the whole entire story, right? When you're waiting issue every month, like you probably can forget, and you're like, wait, what's going on now? And then each time you read it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, okay. Like, so if you guys can get this as a graphic novel for like $5, like definitely worth the read.
Yeah, no, this is pretty good. I mean, like you said, I'm getting into it, and I like it. But we'll see how I need to finish issue 5 then. So you said that's story arc.
So I think going forward, once we finish 5 and I think we'll just go by story arcs. So if it's like 5 issues, then we'll just do the 5. That way you don't, it's really hard again to go like one by one. So we'll just start doing arcs, and then going forward, we finish this like in.
Yeah. And if you guys are watching us, read it so you guys can throw your ideas too.
Yeah, we love the interaction. So we will be back. I think that's it for us for tonight. We will be back next Tuesday at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you subscribe to the page and check out Mama Comic on YouTube. What's it called? The channel?
Tales by Lucy. Oh, it's gonna be Mama Comic Lucy, the same.
Yep, check us all out. And thank you guys so much for all of your love and support. We appreciate it, and we will be back next week.